There are plenty of TV shows about gangsters, but what's been memorable about Power and its spin-offs is that this universe isn't afraid to step out of that and remind the viewer for a minute that these are people. They might be intimidating, and they're always plotting one thing or another, but they're never just gangsters or lawyers or cops. In fact, everyone in Power Book for Force qualifies as a hot mess. In fact, hearing everyone almost continually threatening one another can grow tiresome at times. There won't be any get-togethers for a wonderful Thanksgiving feast on this show. However, the most satisfying part is witnessing what the characters, and the actors who portray them, do under duress. Diamond Sampson serves as Tommy's counterpoint as usual, and Isaac Keys does a fantastic job of keeping Diamond simmering as he waits for the right opportunity to get hot. After 3 seasons, he and Sakura have developed a rhythm that flows out like dancing partners in a chaotic sea. However, it's crucial that Lennon and company send flowers to everyone in Power Book for Force Season 3. Even though Tommy is the main focus of this spin-off, Diamond and the others are not there to further Tommy's narrative. In fact, Diamond and Tommy's relationship is one of the first points of contention. It seems as though the show is reminding viewers that this is a two-way street. Hyman digs much further into Stacey Marks than she ever has before, and it's not pretty, but it is fun to watch. Lily Simmons takes things up another level as Claudia Flynn, while Shane Harper is a sleeper pick as Claudia's brother Vic. This poor guy is at times like the Milton of Force. He just wants to do his own thing, and people keep pushing him over. Yet what could be just a sad sack character feels so relatable thanks to Harper. It's no spoiler to say that people get hurt and worse in Power Book for Force. That's what audiences are used to from the entirety of the Power universe. Season 3 Episode 3 delivers plenty of fast-paced action and excellent Chicago cinematography. But it also feels like a graceful, if chaotic, winding down of this chapter in Tommy Egan's story. Nevertheless, Tommy has persisted in pursuing Ortega and advancing his own agenda at every opportunity, which is terrific for him but not so great for everyone else, rather than upholding that coalition and bolstering it. I can see Tommy's desire for retribution, and because Ortega has already made multiple attempts to murder him, he has a right to receive his lick back. But once more, Tommy isn't thinking outside himself. Nobody wants to turn up like Chavo, and for that reason alone, gangs were dropping out of the coalition, which doesn't help Tommy at all. He and Diamond even admitted they need bodies. I can understand that Tommy wants revenge, and Ortega has tried to kill him more than once at this point, so he's entitled to get his lick back. But again, that's Tommy not thinking outside of himself. He can get to the top of the food chain. I wholeheartedly believe that. But he won't get there alone. He'll need CBI, and others at the end of the day, and these moves he's making aren't exactly endearing him to anyone. Though the name of the game right now seems to be the enemy of my enemy is, that secret is just too big to stay hidden forever. Unless Diamond tries to cover his own behind and admits to Tommy and Dmac what King Kilo wants, but leaves out the part where he was entirely on board with Dmac dying. But we have to wait for that reveal either way, and instead see how Diamond and Jenard try to explain to Tommy why they're welcoming Dmac back into CBI with open arms, and everyone failed to mention it to him. This was a cliffhanger that didn't involve someone close to death or some grand proclamation, but it was perfect in its own way. Tommy needed a wake-up call about the things that have been going on around him, and I'm more than ready to start seeing Diamond have to pick a side in things and fully commit to Tommy or let himself be manipulated by his little brother. And where does Dmac fit into everything now? All I know is that it's going to be pure cinema watching these four men lie to one another, and I can't wait. When Miguel was introduced, they kept hyping up how scary he was, and I didn't see it until I saw him with that pig. The elaborate plan with the 9/7s was just overly complicated for no reason, and Diamond and Jenard also continuously underestimate Dmac, who has proven that he's not very bright at times. Still, he's not going to back down from anything. He went into that ambush with all his ducks in a row and set himself up for success, and I'll give him his props for that. Things were actually going well for them until the gunfight broke out, and then you knew one of those poor guys that came in last night was going to die. But much like his uncle, he's got 9 lives, and when he walked into the basement of the barbershop, I laughed so loudly. Diamond had even convinced Jenard that killing Dmac was for the greater good, and they still couldn't make it happen. The King Kilo thing feels like it's going to hang around until he cuts ties with the coalition. Tommy does some digging and finds out that there's been a hit out on Dmac, and that Diamond's known about it the whole time. It's just stupid decision after stupid decision so far this season, and while it's entertaining, some of the things these people are doing doesn't quite make sense to me. But hey, sometimes you have to throw spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks, or something like that. Tommy's always been a wild card. He could be the most intelligent guy in the room, but we've seen his emotions lead him into some dangerous situations on numerous occasions. And that's to say nothing of the fact that his narcissism often hinders him from seeing outside of his limited scope. Tommy wants to take over Chicago and control the whole city in a way he could never quite master in New York, and he's so damn close that he's not seeing anything else beyond the finish line. Getting to that finish line will require a lot of moving parts working in tandem, perhaps none bigger than the coalition, and his antics so far this season have done nothing to shore up those alliances. Instead, they've caused even more division amongst gangs who aren't at all interested in getting into the middle of a cartel war. Nobody wants to turn up like Chavo, and for that reason alone, gangs were dropping out of the coalition, which doesn't help Tommy at all. He and Diamond even admitted they need bodies. Still, instead of doing right by that coalition and strengthening it, Tommy has continued to come after Ortega and push his own agenda at every turn, which is great for him but not so great for everyone else. I can understand that Tommy wants revenge, and Ortega has tried to kill him more than once at this point, so he's entitled to get his lick back. But again, that's Tommy not thinking outside of himself. He can get to the top of the food chain. I wholeheartedly believe that. But he won't get there alone. He'll need CBI, and others at the end of the day, and these moves he's making aren't exactly endearing him to anyone. Though the name of the game right now seems to be the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so what do I know? The King Kilo thing feels like it's going to hang around until he cuts ties with the coalition. Tommy does some digging and finds out that there's been a hit out on Dmac, and that Diamond's known about it the whole time. Diamond and this plan to kill Dmac has been so silly from the start because why doesn't he just do it himself? Lure him out somewhere and just kill him. There would be no witnesses, and you could literally blame it on anyone at this point, given what's happening in the streets. The elaborate plan with the 9/7s was just overly complicated for no reason, and Diamond and Jenard also continuously underestimate Dmac, who has proven that he's not very bright at times. Still, he's not going to back down from anything. He went into that ambush with all his ducks in a row and set himself up for success, and I'll give him his props for that. Unless Diamond tries to cover his own behind and admits to Tommy and Dmac what King Kilo wants, but leaves out the part where he was entirely on board with Dmac dying.
Independently at times, they were always inexorably connected. Power Book 4, Force has made Tommy clearly number one, with all the positives and negatives that entails. The subtle psychological shift of being professionally beholden to no one else has given him an extra edge. There's also no one to check him and he faces the full consequences of his mistakes. One aspect of Power Book 4, Force that's particularly intriguing is its exploration of Tommy's newfound family, his half-brother J.P. Gibbs, Anthony Fleming III, and nephew Dmac, Lucien Cambric. Though Dmac being J.P.'s son isn't public knowledge yet, it's bound to come out eventually, and J.P. has already told Tommy that he's in a financial bind. Ghost's family was completely caught up in the game, even his true love Angela was a U.S. attorney. J.P. is trying to stay on the straight and narrow as is Gloria, and Dmac's not totally in yet. Tommy can have a side of his life that has nothing to do with drugs, giving himself a balance and saving himself from making the mistakes Ghost made by being unable to keep things separated.
Starz has released a new trailer for Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4 Part 2 alongside some first-look photos that tease a final showdown. The newly released trailer sets the stakes high for emotional final episodes, emphasizing that no one is safe. Part 2 of the final season will premiere on Starz at 8 p.m. in the US on Friday, September 6th. Episodes will be available to stream on the Starz app from midnight. In the first half of Power Book 2, Ghost Season 4, unanswered high-stakes questions were uncovered and Tarek learned he is the father of Diana's baby. Part 2 will showcase the adage, like father, like son. Tarek finds himself in an eerily similar situation, just like his late father, Ghost, stuck between a rock and a hard place, with the choice to leave the game or take over, reads the official synopsis for Part 2. Entrapped by Detective Carter, the Tejada family realizes their safety is not guaranteed. Monet fiercely fights for her family to become whole again, but is it too late? Noma is working her way to the top of the food chain. Meanwhile, her daughter, Anya, gets too close to the game, forcing Noma to think twice about her actions.
Dark clouds forming in the heavens over me, but I say hallelujah anyway.
As they held their guns up towards each other, Monet told Tarek that she knew they both had a lot of reasons to want to take each other out, but she had a better idea. She proposed that if he give her kids the pass, she'll give him one too. Monet explained that all she cared about at the moment was making sure her family was safe, especially her grandbaby. Tarek, who is obviously still shell-shocked by the news, lowers his gun before leaving the house. That episode ends with Tarek pulling up to the party/concert Braden put together for No Lie. When they finally catch up, Braden breaks down all the logistics of how their business will run and Tarek is very impressed. When Braden is done, he asks Tarek how things went with the Tejadas. Tarek tells him that he might not a drink before he gets into it and also says that needed to hit the blunt Braden was hitting at the moment. As the two sit at the bar, Tarek spots Anya. He walks up and offers to pay for her drinks as he introduces himself. She tells him that she can pay for her own drinks. Tarek responds by saying he could see that but she shouldn't have to. She loved the line and introduced herself. The episode ends with Tarek telling Anya that it's nice to meet her. That boy cold. Power Book 2, Ghost continues to dominate television screens as it approaches its mid-season finale in its final 10-episode run. This spin-off from the original Power series, which concluded in 2020, has garnered significant attention, with Season 4 attracting 6.5 million multi-platform viewers during its debut week on Starz. Michael Rainey Jr. portrays Tarek St. Patrick, the son of James St. Patrick, known as Ghost, a former drug lord and businessman. Tarek, who killed his father in the original series, now navigates a dual life as an Ivy League college student and a drug dealer. Season after season, viewers witness Tarek's attempts to earn his inheritance through education, only to be drawn deeper into a life of crime. He embodies the legacy of Ghost, version 2.0, as per the report by Radio Times. Adding to the complexity, Detective Don Carter, Michael Ealy, enters the fray, determined to bring down Tarek and his associates, including federal agent Angel Young, with ties to Paz and Angela Valdez. The impending threat forces Tarek and his loved ones into precarious situations, testing their resilience and alliances. The Starz app offers streaming for every Power franchise installment, including Power Book 2, Ghost. Fans excitedly await the dramatic finale of this spin-off, which functions as a sequel and a standalone story in the Power universe, as the series gets more intense with each new episode release.
Despite the Starz show's lengthy hiatus between seasons, the third season debut does not reassure viewers of its world.